Welcome to part 6 of my guitar mini course, doing different modes with a G root. So this one is going to be G Phrygian, key of E flat. So today I'll be covering up some pentatonic, caged, and some hexatonic scale patterns. So just referred to the PDF below, has some of the different patterns that I'm using. I'm not going to write out every single thing that I'm doing. I'll just try to give you a basic idea of the strategies that I'm using. So the very first track there, these tracks will be linked. I've actually already published these ahead of time, which I normally publish them after the tutorial, but this time I just decided to do something a little bit different. You'll also notice that there's some keyboard tracks in there. So I recently picked up a Novation Launch Key 49, so you'll be hearing more keyboard tracks in my tutorials. Also, you probably noticed I haven't published anything for quite a while because I've been doing a deep dive and trying to learn some of these softwares. So if you know anything about the Novation keyboards, they offer quite a bundled suite of different softwares and synthesizers and things like that. So I've been trying to learn some of that stuff. And as a guitar player, learning MIDI and learning about different software instruments, it's been quite a journey, quite a learning journey. So learning about those, taking some melodics, keyboard, learning some basic keyboard skills, some tapping, tapping on the pads. Learning the orchestral tools is kind of interesting. And what's some of the other things? So the synthesizers. Oh yeah, and then trying to learn Ableton Live 12 Lite that's been quite a frustrating and just trying to learn how to use that software. So that's kind of what I've been doing, trying to learn the keyboard. I do have some basic keyboard skills from music school, so I do know the right hand a little bit. So anyhow, I just wanted to talk a little bit about that, so you'll be hearing that. Okay, so I'll just go briefly through some of the scales I was using. So the first track is just G minor to A, to A flat, just a 3 and the 4 chord in the key of E flat, so G Phrygian. So basically, it's just I'm keeping a G pedal with that. So the first pattern was just G minor pentatonic. So I'm using the box pattern and I'm using the pattern right below the box. So there's kind of a method to my madness there. So the idea here is that you're centering around the G and D, which are the root and fifth of the mode. So those are really good notes to land on, both for the G minor chord, and then also for that A flat. So you get that major 7, and you also get that sharp 11. So that's a good thing to know when you're improvising. So sometimes it's a good idea. Something stays the same, something changes. So as those chords are oscillating back and forth between G minor and A flat, sometimes it's good to just keep the same scale. Okay, so I'll just go through that scale briefly. G, I'll say the note names. I'll say them in both directions. G, F, D, C, B flat, G, F, D, C, B flat, G, F, F, G, B flat, C, D, F, G, B flat, C, D, F, G. All right, so I think that's a really good thing to do is to learn the guitar neck all over the place, and then also to realize there's certain places where the open strings are really handy. So right there, you can do a lot of really interesting things with the open string. So I'm just going to the next position of pentatonic, just dropping in those open strings. And I'll do one more. So I'm just dropping in the open string. Okay, then blues box. I'll say it both directions. B flat, G, F, D, C, B flat, G, F, D, C, B flat, G. Up the scale, G, B flat, C, D, F, G, B flat, C, D, F, G, B flat. Right, and then this and those two patterns interface really well with this scale. You see a lot of teachers talk about this, and I've been talking about this since the early '90s. This I call it the sliding pattern. People call it the 2-3 pattern. Whatever you want to do. It's basically G minor, also B flat major pentatonic, F G, B flat C D. So I talk a lot about how every two strings is the same pattern, so same pattern of notes. So it's really, really good for moving it around. F, G, B flat, C, D, F, G, B flat, C, D, backwards, D, C, B flat, G, F, D, C, B flat, G, F, D, C, B flat, G, F. Across. And then interfacing with the blues box. All right, so that's a really, really handy kind of matrix of notes, and that's kind of how I kind of designed this, this tutorial, thinking about those things. And so then all I did is I just went up the octave. So I'll go through those briefly. So this is just the same pattern: up an octave, G, F, D, C, B flat, G, F, D, C, B flat, G, F, up the scale, F, G, B flat, C, D, F, G, B flat, C, D, F, G. And you'll notice in my opening playing demonstration, I was kind of going back and forth between the pickup. So depending on what kind of sound I wanted and depending on where I was on the fretboard, sometimes when I'm here, I'll use a treble pickup, and then when I'm up here, I use neck pickup. Okay, and then you have the blues box here: B flat, G, F, D, C, B flat, G, F, D, C, B flat, G. Up the scale: G, B flat, C, D, F, G, B flat, C, D, F, G, B flat. Right, so that's a good way to kind of learn how to improvise over a progression like this, is just do kind of your standard blues. Use your standard blues licks over a progression where something is changing. So it's going G minor to A flat, play the same blues licks over that progression, and it sounds really cool. Kind of like what McLaughlin does in a lot of his stuff. He plays like E minor pentatonic in the Birds of Fire, and it just sounds amazing. Birds of Fire, yeah. Okay, so let me do one more pattern here. So then we have this version of G minor pentatonic sliding pattern. This is 2 notes and then 3 notes: G, F, C, B, D, C, B flat. Okay, then every 2 notes is the same pattern: G, F, a D, C, B flat, G, F, D, C, B flat. All right, so that could be G minor pentatonic or B flat major pentatonic. Up the scale: B flat, C, D, F, G, B flat, C, D, F, G, B flat, C, D, F, G. So that's another good major. So you can kind of go across, diagonally, or into your blues box. Okay, so that's good to kind of use those 2 things. I think I'll just do a quick little tangent here before I go to CAGED. So all I'm going to do here is I'm just going to put that first track on the G minor, and I'm just going to not even really think about it. I'm just going to play standard blues licks out of this pattern here for a couple like a minute or so. Okay, this is a G minor to an A flat, all over a G pedal. So I'm just going to play G minor. Okay, you can kind of see how that works. So I wasn't really, like I said, I wasn't really thinking about it very much. In my opening playing demonstration, I was kind of targeting for certain notes. So sometimes when I was on that A flat, I was targeting for the C notes. So try to be a little bit more melodic or a little bit tasteful, however you want to think about that. All right. Okay, let's move on to CAGED now. I have those. Yeah, I have those outlined there in the PDF. So the first one I have here is this one. I'll just say to the notes: G, A flat, B flat, C, D, E flat, F, G, A flat, B flat, C, D, E flat, F, G, A flat, B flat, B flat, A flat, G, F, E flat, D, C, B flat, A flat, G, F, E flat, D, C, B flat, A flat, G. That's pretty convenient pattern based off of the third of the E flat. You'll also notice you have your blues boss contained in there. Okay, then you look right across on that page. Then I have this pattern that includes the two open strings: A flat G F, E flat D C, B flat A flat G, F E flat D, C B flat, A flat G F. Out the scale: F G A flat, B flat C, D E flat F, G A flat B flat, C D E flat, F G A flat. Okay, and then I also did the same. I think I played a little bit more. Also, I played the same patterns up here. I won't say the note names. And then also here. I'll do a little bit of a tangent here. So what happens here in the scale, that's the same whether you're doing CAGED or whether you're doing 3-note per string scale. Your 3-note per string scale: C, B flat, A flat, G, F, E flat. So E flat, F, G. So your root is G there, which is the Phrygian. So 3-note per string scales gives you kind of a symmetrical. And just keeping in mind that when you're playing these modes, you just have to kind of emphasize the roots. I think what I did for this next track, I started on the A flat and then I ended on either the G or the D. So maybe I'll just do a couple examples like that. So this would have been the second part of the intro example. So starting on A flat and then ending on the G. I'll just play it up here for now. So here's my A flat to the G minor. A flat. I'm starting on A flat. Landing on the D of the G. So I'll do the same thing here. So I think I also did something where I landed on the G. Something like that. And I think I also did something where I started from the E flat. So starting from the E flat of the chord. Yeah, so that's really, to my mind, that's really what you want to do with these scales. You want to know them intimately, but not just run them mindlessly, but you want to kind of start and end on chord. So I thought the patterns that I picked out, this one here and this one here, kind of emphasize that G and D, which is kind of the resolution notes of the scale. And then I think what I did here also when I was playing here, and I think maybe here, play the A flat major 7th arpeggio, and then just resolving to one of the notes of the G minor. kind of go A flat major 7th arpeggio, resolve to the G, resolve to the D, or resolve to the B flat. I think it's also interesting. I'll just kind of throw this in as another tangent. There's also another system of scales called the Zach. I call them the Zach Wild scale. I saw them in a Guitar Player magazine years and years ago. So the idea here is that you double this note here. So that D note gets doubled there. So if I was here, so depending on what you're doing, you could add the D note here and or here. So I'll just do a couple examples: A flat, and then go into some kind of G minor thing. A flat to G minor. A flat or A. A flat. Resolving to the G minor chord. Backwards. I went to the scale. So up the arpeggio, down the scale. Right, and then I just went to kind of either just the G minor arpeggio or the G minor pentatonic. Okay, I realize this is getting kind of long, so I'm not going to be able to cover all these concepts. So the thing I did at the end there is I did the theme for La Fiesta. You know, big fan of that album. Highly recommend that. Chick Corea, Return to Forever. It just has a picture of a seagull on the cover. It's just an excellent album. Chick Corea, Stanley Clarke, Joe Farrell, Airto, Flora Purim, Joe Farrell. I'm forgetting somebody. Yeah, so anyhow, it's just a great album. Yeah, Joe Farrell is just really amazing on flute and soprano saxophone. But yeah, Return to Forever. So I'm kind of doing that song. Now, because of the progression I'm using, I'm ending on the A flat, so I'm kind of just messing with the and I'm stretching out the form because the original is in 3/4. This is in 4/4. Right, so that would be like the original La Fiesta. That's the original La Fiesta. The original one is an E. I'm just adapting it to G minor. And I'm just ending it there. Okay, I'll just play through that. Just I'll try to talk you through it a little bit there. So you got your. Sorry, here we go. Do it down here also. Kind of see how I've kind of adopted that, and then I just did a very simple kind of hexatonic thing. I just kind of moved it around to different places. Right. That kind of sounds like a Spanish theme. So that's just based off of the G, A flat, B flat, A flat. That's just the basic progression is G minor, A flat, B flat, and then A flat. So, and then here starting from the A flat. Now here you have to change the symmetry. Because you want to stay in the key of E flat. And I moved that around to different places. I moved it down to here. So I'll put a little note in the description of those notes on the third and second string. So once again, I stress a lot the idea of every two strings is the same note. So you could take this same thing and just move it here. All right, I think that's all I'll talk about for today. So I think just to end off, I know this video is getting kind of long. I'll just end off with an ending improvisation. Just kind of just playing whatever I want. I'll play through all three sections of the jam track. So thanks for listening and watching.